This is a presentation of BSRN, Box Studios Radio Network. The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here is your host of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for May 9th, 2024. This is season 13, episode number 45. And this is episode 430 of the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Hello, everybody. Once again, I am Bob Howard. Thank you for listening to the show this week. As everybody else is probably just waiting for Friday to get here, everybody in the organization, all the fans, everybody surrounding the Binghamton Black Bears are just waiting for Friday to get here. There's a lot of nervous anticipation, a lot of energy that is being built up. The game is already a sellout. The game is already going to be sold out. They're already turning away people. Unfortunately, the arena sits 4893. There is no other place to put any more people, even though I think there's more and more people that would love to be in that arena to see what happens on Friday night. Now, of course, they got to play a game. Of course, they have to, complete the job and everything. And the Black Bears seem to me to be ready for it. They've done all the appropriate things this week. They kind of shut media down for anybody. I have not texted any of the guys that I normally text during this week. Not that I was asked to not text them, but when the email came out and then basically said, hey, listen, we're going to do a press conference on Tuesday and on Wednesday to have you talk to select people, I was like, you know what? Let me just, not text or talk to anybody that I normally would talk to from the team. Once again, I've become kind of close with a couple of them, so I've kind of kept my peace a little bit. And even though I would really like to talk to a couple of them about the Rangers and Carolina series, kind of keeping it quiet in that sense. No interviews direct like I normally do with the players this week. But there was a press conference on Tuesday with Coach Sherwood, Jesse Anderson, and the captain, Tyson Kirkby. So you'll hear all that information and everything. But I really started to reflect a little bit on 2011, right? I was here in 2011, as I've been here for a very long time, and but covering that as a media member. And I remember when the game happened down in Houston when they won the Cup, a lot of fans were watching on TV. I was privileged a little bit to be in the studio with Eric Columbia, and we were going to be talking about the game as soon as it was over with. And once it was over with, they were riding around on the ice with the cup, and they were holding the cup up, doing that normal thing. And I didn't know that the TV station that was covering and carried the game had gone off before that. So a lot of fans didn't get to see them holding up the cup and skating it around. Now, I was able to watch a little bit of that because they had it coming in via satellite. And it was obviously really cool to watch and see, but a lot of people in Binghamton didn't get to see that. So I'm hoping that this weekend, whether it's Friday or whether it's Saturday or whether it's Sunday, fans in Binghamton who didn't get to see them holding the cup and skating around even on television will get to see that in person. It matters that much that we do that and that we see that, because it's a really cool part. And I think there's a lot of people that are just ready for what's going to happen this weekend, which is pretty cool. And I know there are people from the Binghamton Senators 2011 Calder Cup Championship team that are paying attention to this. They care. They won in this city, and they really, truly care about the city. They may not live here anymore. They may not have been here in a long time. But there are people, part of that organization, that still care about Binghamton hockey and about the fans and about the people and the community that they met when they were here. And that's pretty cool. So, which is kind of neat and everything. That kind of leads me to our first guest, which I'll get to in just a couple minutes. But let me read through the must-reads, all right? The Power Play Post Show is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show, whichever platform you listen to your podcast, and subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and search for Power Play Post Show, and please join the group. Check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. And on this edition of the Power Play Post Show, we have a lot of people to get to. That's why I'm keeping my main segment as tight as I can be, which we all know is very hard for me to do. From the Binghamton Black Bears press conference, we had Head Coach Brant Sherwood, Captain Tyson Kirkby, Assistant Captain Jesse Anderson. We also I spoke to today separately, owner of the Black Bears, Andreas Johansson, so we'll have him on, so you'll hear that as well. That's the reason why I'm going to keep my stuff pretty tight. And then we had Binghamton Senators Calder Cup Champion from 2011, Cody Bass, who was a huge part of the community and giving back and charitable and wings and do it for Darren. All that stuff stemmed from some of what Cody Bass did here in Binghamton, not just winning the Calder Cup, but really reaching out to the community. So I'm going to start with that interview with Cody because he understands what the players are going through. And some fans, you may not understand what the players are going through right now. They're thinking about it. There's this nervous energy, right? Because they know, usually in a playoff series, you don't have 5 days in between games, right? So, but these guys they're working hard. They're trying to come to the rink and do the same things that they normally do and maybe go out to eat in the same places they go out to eat. They're trying to do all that stuff. Cody Bass was part of a championship team here in Binghamton. He understands what they're going through. He doesn't know any of these players. He's never met any of them. He hasn't crossed paths with any of the guys, but he understands what they're going through. So I was very happy to be able to reach out to Cody and have Cody come on. He had a very successful career after leaving the Binghamton Senators, played in the NHL for Nashville. He played obviously with Ottawa. So very excited to have Cody. But let's get to a couple nitty-gritty things that are important. First of all, the game is a sellout on Friday. If you need tickets, if you want tickets, there are none. Okay, so unfortunately, it's a sellout. You're going to have to watch it on YouTube. Hopefully, Brooks, even though it's a home game, still gets over 1,000, maybe over 1,500 people watching to see what happens on Friday. And if not on Friday, then maybe on Saturday as well. And hopefully they'll sell out the game as well on Saturday. That would be cool if it's needed. So let's talk about a couple things here. Here's the schedule. Here's what happened, and here's what's coming up. Binghamton won Game 1 in Carolina in Winston-Salem at the Annex 5-3. Okay. Then Game 2 was May 4th on a Saturday, and Binghamton won that game 4-3. Now, in both games, Binghamton came out quick, fast, had a lot of energy, and they won those two first periods, and that's really what won them the game, right? Both periods, they only scored 3 goals. And yes, Carolina scored 3 goals, and so that means they had to do stuff in the other periods, but really they won those games in the first period, in my opinion. Now, Carolina and Binghamton will play again May 10th, this upcoming Friday at 7 p.m. Okay, we know that. If needed, they'll play Saturday, May 11th at 7 p.m. if needed. And then, of course, May 12th, 6 p.m. Sunday, that would be Game 5 if that's needed. Tickets are already on sale for the Saturday and the Sunday games. You can go and get the tickets, and if you need to, you can figure that whole thing out with the Binghamton Black Bears. Okay, so my expectations from this upcoming Friday's game. I believe that the high-energy first period will still be there for the Black Bears. I also think it'll be there for the Carolina Thunderbirds. Okay, I'm not counting these guys out at all, but I do think that Binghamton's still going to come out with a lot of energy with the fans behind them, and it's going to be a ruckus energy, high-energy crowd, which we absolutely love here in Binghamton. And I think that seventh man, that's going to help. I still think the Black Bears are going to score 2 or 3 goals in that first period. So that's one of my expectations right there. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Cody Karpinski in for the Thunderbirds. And I wouldn't be surprised if he uses both goaltenders if he has to in this upcoming game. Okay? If one of the goaltenders, whoever starts, Cody or Mario, comes in the first period and gives up 3 goals, that goal is out. It's done. He's going to switch it again, just like he did in Game 2. Because when he switched out from Mario to Cody, Cody only gave up 1 goal after that. Okay, on Saturday, May 4th. It was the game winner, but still, he only gave up 1 goal. I think it was 18, 17 shots, right around there, right? So if the Thunderbirds are going to compete, they will need an immediate contribution from Gus Ford in the top line, plus the Czech line need to have some sort of impact on this game. That's really what it comes down to. My expectation is that Gus Ford will certainly try to have an impact, but whether or not he will depend on how the Black Bears match up on him defensively. We'll see what they do, especially in the first period, I think will make a big difference. The other thing is sellout. It's going to be a rowdy, ruckus crowd without a doubt. This game, this team, they're destined. I said that they were special early on in the season, and I truly believe it. Okay, if you don't have your tickets, watch it on YouTube. I know the first 2,000 fans are going to get one of the championship rally towels and everything. No, these are not rally chairs, but they are rally towels, and they're very cool looking. You've probably seen the advertisement for them. And then I think 5,000 pom-poms. They have 5,000 pom-poms to hand out to people as well. So it should create a really cool visual. I do want to say that if you're not going to the game and you're in the Binghamton area, you can see me on Fox 40 at around 6:15, from about 6:15 to 6:20. I will be on the air with Ian Mills. He'll be asking me questions, and I'll be giving some really dumb answers because that's what I do. But no, it'll be very cool to be on there, just to be a part of this whole season of covering the Binghamton Black Bears, whether it be on Fox 40 or right here on the Power Play Post Show, is such a joy and everything. So that's all I wanted to say. Everybody knows what already happened in the first 2 games. We know that Game 3 and Game 4 and Game 5 are this weekend, and the Black Bears will be really on par, I think. I mean, I'd be surprised if they didn't win this in 3 at this point, especially the way the first 2 games went. However, they were still close games when it all came down to it. So Carolina could surprise everybody and get that win. So that would just mean that the Black Bears would have to come back and beat them on Saturday night, which I don't think they'd have a problem doing if they needed to. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to get over to the interviews. I want to do Cody Bass first. And then after that will be the press conference with Coach, with Jesse Anderson and Tyson Kirkby. That's a nice one little block right there. And then we'll end this with talking to the boss man, talking to the head honcho of the Binghamton Black Bears, Andreas Johansson. So we got a lot of stuff for you here. My one-on-one with Cody Bass, my one-on-one with Andreas will finish it off, and in between will be the press conference with me and all the TV guys, Channel 34, Fox 40 with Ian Mills, and Brian Rudman from Channel 34. We were all there asking questions to Coach and the 2 captains from the team. So a lot of good stuff. So coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show, Cody Bass, Calder Cup Champion from 2011, here to talk about what this team and a little bit about his career and about what this team is going to be going through. So we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers. Hi, this is Brandon Buchinski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. I'm very, very excited to talk to this gentleman right here. And I'm sure all the fans are going to be excited to hear from him again as well. He is a former Binghamton Senator. He is a former Calder Cup champion. Well, actually, still a Calder Cup champion, the way I look at it, from 2011. And just one of the nicest guys, and has done a lot of great things in his life. He is Cody Bass. Cody, welcome back to the show. It's good to talk to you again. I know the last time you and I actually had a conversation was in 2012 when you were in Springfield. I think you were recovering from an injury at that point, but thank you so much for coming on and spending a little bit of time with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. This is great. Thanks for having me.
Cody, let's talk a little bit about after Binghamton. You obviously signed with the Columbus Blue Jackets, played in Springfield for a few years, and then I think made your way to the Nashville Predators as well. You spent some time in the NHL, some more time also in the AHL. For you, winning the Calder Cup Championship, then also playing in the playoffs and for a couple other teams, obviously, even Nashville in the NHL, how do you feel like your career went? Are you satisfied with how everything went?
Well, that's a good question, actually. Sure. I mean, for me, I don't have any regrets at all.
Yeah.
Like I think I gave the game everything I had, and I think that showed, with my body and my injuries that I sustained. I think that, to me, is kind of, and it was out of my control, but the amount of injuries I had probably really limited the amount of time I got to play in the NHL. Just with, teams scared to give me an opportunity. And also, you got to think the amount of time I missed, the amount of games, and the amount of development I missed. Just fighting back and coming back from injuries all the time. But overall, when it comes to my career, I'm 100% satisfied. And I think the other word I can use is I'm grateful. I was grateful that, the Lord gave me an opportunity to play a game for 13 years and to make a living that way. And meeting the people I got to meet and traveling around the country and, there's no better way to live it. There's no better job. There's no better opportunity to have it. So yeah, I'm very grateful and pleased with how everything went.
Yeah, because not many people have played 75 games in the NHL, so you have to look at it as I've done that, and not that you're rubbing it in anyone's face, or nobody wants to do that or anything, but you played 75 games in the NHL, so that is a pretty satisfying thing. You wish obviously it could have been more and everything. Your time in Binghamton, you spent a portion of 5 seasons in Binghamton. After the OHL, you played, some games, 2 different seasons and everything. What do you remember about Binghamton, New York?
First off, the people and the fans were number one. The small town feel I know very well coming from Owen Sound, Ontario. So, very relatable going to play in Binghamton. And then, looking at the teams that I was able to be a part of and the culture we had in the locker room was second to none. That if you look at just the past couple of years of the guys that kind of went through the organization when I was there and how many of them went on to have very successful NHL careers is a very positive thing to look at. And that's a compliment to the Ottawa Senators at the time, and then also Tom Mitchell and the ownership group and the fans and the rink and everything. So, I remember I was young, so don't forget I was young and dumb at the time, but I remember having lots of fun there at Dillinger's, and I'm forgetting the salad bar name, and then we used to go out to watch football, and then there's a bunch of stuff that I remember there. It's just spotty. It was such a long time ago, but I had a blast. I mean, since I was 18 years old, getting called up after my junior career, living with Bobby Robbins in some little house, I had a blast, and I met some amazing people. So
you know that Bobby just wrote a book, right? Have you read the book? Are you in the book? Should I be scared when I get my copy of this book and read it?
I haven't read it. I know Bobby wrote one. I have not read it. I don't know what he said in that book, so I have no idea.
I'm wondering if other players are a little bit nervous about what he wrote in that book, because he says it's a little bit about everything. But knowing Bobby, because he's an amazing human being, he kept it more about his journey and not other people's journey and everything. And it's true. You got to play with Mike Hoffman, who got to play, a long time in the NHL and whatnot. Your thoughts on Ottawa and Binghamton as a tandem together. They were together for 15 years. That relationship happened between Ottawa and Binghamton. But, that was your first 5 years, 3 or 4 or 5 years, depending on how you look at it and everything. What do you think about that relationship and how strong it was for so long?
think it's positive, and it's amazing to see. When you break down the game as a whole, and you break down the NHL and the American League, the American League is a very, 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 very tough league to win in. The change that you go through and the amount of players and the depth that an organization has to have is incredible for that American League team to make a run. And then you come playoff time, if the NHL team makes, if they make playoffs, they're usually pulling some black aces and pulling some good players from the American League to come up, and so you lose that. And then if the NHL club doesn't make it, then you get some players back like we did when we won. But to see that happen and see that, partnership that lasted so long, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that deserve a lot of credit for that, that was able to work through, because, you can't forget it's a business. So for them to keep that business relationship for that long is definitely, it's a positive outlook.
Cody, the 2011 season for the Binghamton Senators, a lot of people would say it probably wasn't the best, regular season. You guys won some games behind Barry Brust. Robin Leonard played probably about 20, 22 games in the regular season. I think Ottawa probably would have liked to see more, but Kleinendorst had his own kind of vision of how to get him prepared for the NHL and whatnot. But then Ryan Patolny came to the team. I think there was a trade with Rockford that brought him over and whatnot. Was that about the time, and that was just before the trade deadline, was that about the time when the team really started to click?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. Ryan getting traded was one thing, and then, eventually we got, myself, I was down, and then we had Derek Smith kind of came back on D, and then Zach Smith was up and down, Colin Greening was up and down, Eric Condris. So if you just look at these names, and then we had Barry and we had Robin in goal. And don't forget, I think at that time we had the crossover effect, right?
Yeah.
So we had more points in the third place in the other conference, I think it was.
The Atlantic Division.
That's right.
Yep.
So we actually had a decent year. It wasn't a bad year and it wasn't a great year, but we actually had a decent regular season, and it proved because we actually made playoffs in the other division. And then we ran into, and we were able to get some guys back permanently. And we got hot at the right time. Listen, playoff hockey is about the group coming together and finding their chemistry at the right time. And, that whole storyline, once we beat Manchester in that first round, we knew we were going all the way. As soon as we got out of that, and we had Kasper Dagovins too, as soon as we got out of that first round and made that comeback, we were all sitting there being, oh, okay, we're making a run, Nick. We're legit. So it was a riot.
Now, there is a lot of people today that still talk about that series against Manchester because it almost felt like a high-end NHL-style finals almost, in a sense. What do you remember from those 7 games against the Monarchs? Because I have said since then, if Manchester wins, they probably win the championship that year. Would you agree?
Yeah, probably. I mean, they were the best team in the league at the time, point-wise. You just think about, I think we had 5 overtime games. I think we set a record for the amount of overtime games we had. And then the one thing that stood out is, who was the kid? The kid had a breakaway in overtime on Robin. He had a breakaway, and Robin made the save, and this is Game 7 in overtime. Mm-hmm. And then a minute and a half later, we go down and score to win.
Yeah.
There's just so many moments that throughout the whole run, that we look back on and we can call them TSN turning points, call them whatever you want. But I think everybody pulled their weight, and that's what you need in playoffs, and that's what you need to win. Is you almost need a new hero every night, and you need everybody to step up and pull their, pull the rope and pull it in the right direction. So we had that. And Manchester was a really good hockey squad, and they were but listen, when it comes to playoff hockey, the reason why people don't bet on it, because you just never know.
That is true. Now, the next couple rounds for you guys, Portland Pirates, and then, of course, the Charlotte Checkers. You guys ran into a goalie in Charlotte where everybody was saying this is the team that could potentially win the cup and everything, and you guys beat them in 4 games.
Yeah, we swept them. Yeah, good rinks too, right? Good city. We, at that point, once we got through Portland too, and Portland was a good team. They had some veteran guys that they were well coached. Getting into Charlotte was, having the big rink, having the experience that our team had with, Ryan Keller, our captain, NHL experience, Ryan Patoni, NHL experience, Colin Green, myself, Eric Condor, Kasper Dogman, Derek Smith. We had Jared Cowan just coming in from junior as a first-round pick. Robin Lehner, who had a big reputation, big name. With Barry Bruss, who had a reputation in the American League. Like, you put us on a big stage at a big rink like Charlotte had. Like, we weren't losing. It was just that simple. We were having fun off the ice, and Kurt let us run. I call it let it run, but KK let us run through a playoffs. He was very, very strict, and he had his ways of how to coach. But once we hit playoffs, he just knew to kind of take the foot off our throats, and he just let us play hockey, and he let us run. We were having fun outside the rink every single day, and we were just performing on the ice. Mm-hmm. And that was also a huge plus and a benefit to our locker room. Everybody knew that we had a good team, and as long as everybody bought in, our leadership group, everyone did a great job keeping everybody dialed in, and it paid dividends. We were successful.
Now, Cody, obviously, when you guys got to the finals, it's an exciting time. It's everybody really, at that point is like, this is the best place for us to be. But then you have assistant coach Steve Sterling have his medical issue. Mm-hmm. How hard was it for you guys to enjoy the time, but also at the same time, you guys are thinking about somebody who's been in the trenches with you guys?
The Silver Fox, we called him. He was amazing. Couldn't ask for a better assistant coach to have around the guys every single day, and had a voice of positivity. He was optimistic, he was positive, he was fun to be around, and he was a hockey nut. He was a guru. We loved Steve, and I remember when we flew out to Houston, we found out what happened. We were just leaving, and it was sad to see. And then once we won, we landed, went right to the hospital to see him. So couldn't ask for a better storybook ending. And actually, I crossed paths with Steve a little bit on the scouting side with the Avalanche too. So
he's still scouting. People don't realize he still works. That's crazy that he went through what he went through, and we're talking 13 years later, and he's still doing what he loves, and it's amazing. Yeah,
he's Class A person, Class A man, and he loves the game more than anybody. I can tell you that.
So no matter what level of hockey, when you get to the finals, there is nerves, there's excitement, there is just this feeling inside. What do you think the players here in Binghamton are feeling right now as they get ready for this Friday, Game 3, where if they win Game 3, they win the championship? So what did you guys go through? I know it's a little bit mixed feelings with Sturls and everything that happened, but what are these guys going through? What are they thinking about right now?
No, I think it's just a matter of the good teams and the good players in these situations are really good at controlling their emotions. They know when to be, when to ride the highs and when to ride lows and get rid of the lows. So I think they're internally they're excited. I think that, it's been a long year. I think that, the group will be ready, and I don't even know those guys. I just know hockey players and I know men. So I think it's just a matter of, they're getting prepared and they'll be ready. And it's just a matter of, listen, it's one win. It's 60-minute game of your hardest and best effort, and you walk away with a championship. So that's all they have to do.
When I talked to you earlier on Facebook, I sent you a picture that I took of you raising up the cup and everything. It's a great picture. I've held on to all the shots that I took as I was kneeling down in front of you guys as you guys were there on that stage. What do you remember of that moment? Because there were some people say it's only 5,000 fans. You guys probably saw, because you guys were up higher, you probably saw fans going down both sides of the streets of the black building that sits by the arena. What did you guys see? I mean, what was the view like for you guys?
Well, the whole day was incredible. I think people got to understand we won it in Houston, and then we went out in Houston to party.
Yeah.
And then we flew back on the charter the next day, jumped on a bus, went right to the hospital to see Sturls, and then we went to the rink, and then we had a parade. So we're all in different vehicles, and we're all like a parade. Like, what's going on? And this just touches on the fan base and the people in Binghamton. And, Jen O'Brien is a woman I still talk to. I know you know Jen.
Yeah.
I talk to her all the time, her
Absolutely.
and Paul. So, I kept in touch with her over the years. She's amazing. But, we didn't know what to expect, but the city was amazing. The fans were amazing. I remember sitting up there during that, and Casper's Doggens had the crowd chanting doggy and all this stuff too. And it at that time, how old was I? 23, I think, yeah. 22. You just felt like a rock star a little bit, right? So you're living the dream. You're living in the whole. I've said it to you already on the phone, but the whole season was a storybook season. Just the highs and lows, the adversity of injuries, the adversity of guys going up, and every good team and every championship team has to face adversity at some point. If everything is smooth sailing for them and everything goes well for them, usually they will win. That's just how it works. So, looking down, I don't know how many people there were. I probably drank too much, but there was a lot, and it was a riot. And the fans are amazing, and it was cool to see. It was cool to see for sure.
Now, I have to ask you one question that I don't know the answer to because my memory is not as good as it was. You obviously played 58 games with the Springfield Falcons, at least in 2013 or 14. Have you been back to the arena? Have you seen the banner up in the rafters? I'd imagine so, right?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
When I left, and I did scouting, I scouted with the Ads for 5 years, and I was grateful enough to win a cup with them on management side.
Yeah.
But I remember flying to Springfield a few years ago, but I was doing some college scouting, so I didn't actually go. I didn't hit the Falcons rink at all.
So even as a player, you'd never made it back to Binghamton.
Binghamton, Springfield, no, I haven't been back into the rink.
So you have not seen the banner. That's crazy that you haven't been in there because, obviously playing with Springfield, Rockford. I don't know, Rockford in Binghamton probably didn't play that much in the time that Binghamton was in the AHL and everything. And obviously, definitely not with Colorado. Tell me a little bit about Colorado. How are fans in Colorado? That was where you ended your career.
Yeah, Loveland was amazing too. Actually, very similar feel to Binghamton. Just small town, an hour and a half outside of Denver. Little university town. But Loveland was great. Ownership was great. For American League team, you fly to every game, so it has like an NHL feel, right? So when you're home, you could play a whole weekend of home games, and then you get on the road for a little bit. But the rink was amazing. Ownership was amazing. Having the Avalanche down the street, having their support was amazing. So the American League's come a long way in a lot of these organizations. It just takes the right organization to understand, okay, well, you want to put a winning team in the NHL, and that's the ultimate goal. But there's still the goal of providing and somehow creating a winning culture in the American League too. So
right. And winning in the AHL can breed winning in the NHL. Do you agree?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay, so let's go back. June 7th, 2011, you guys win the cup. You raise the cup up. Obviously, it's in Houston. It's not in Binghamton. For some of the few of the players that I know listen to the show from the Binghamton team here, what is that feeling like?
It's amazing. I mean, winning's the prize of all the hard work, right? You all the sacrificing, all the training, all the BS throughout the year that you have to deal with, all the BS with coaches that you deal with. It's everything. And then all of a sudden you have this end result that you work towards. So it's no different in life. You put in, you go to work every single day to make $1, and you find an end result of a paycheck or a promotion in your job, or promotion of anything. It's no different. It's hockey and sports has a lot of, you can relate to life and do that transition. It just takes the right person to figure out how to do that transition, how to correlate both sides of it. But it was an amazing feeling. It's you put in all that hard work to do that. Mm-hmm. And when you do it, it's like when it's a couple of days later, you take a deep breath, you're like, wow, like that was pretty cool. But then you're like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Well, what's next is trying to make it to the NHL and do it there.
Yeah.
So. Absolutely.
Cody, before I let you go, is there a memento that you have from that season that you have pretty much anywhere you've been? Is there a jersey? Is there something from that championship season that you still have today?
Oh, wow. There is. I think it's at my uncle's house, but I have a photo of me playing that's in a frame, and then I do have this one too. It's a picture of us winning on the ice in Houston. Mm-hmm. I got backwards cap on, hat, and I'm raising my cup. I got a beard, and I'm screaming my face off. I think my eyes go cross-eyed. I'm screaming so loud. I got to find them. I have the picture, actually.
Well,
but there's a bunch of stuff. Listen, for me, it's the memories that I have in my playing career are invaluable, and they're all on my head, and they're all memories I've shared and with those guys. So that year was truly one of the best years of my life, in my career, I can tell you that.
Cody, you spent obviously time with Luke Richardson, who became the Binghamton head coach for a couple of years afterwards. You knew his family really well, and obviously your life with them kind of affected the type of person that you became and everything. Can you just touch upon real quick, Wings, Do It for Darren? Those type of charities came out of the tragedy of Darren taking her own life and everything. But now there is this movement all through Canada, even a lot of part of the United States that has to do with mental health for children, for teenagers, which didn't get talked about a lot 20 years ago, but now is a bigger topic. And I think that you and Luke Richardson and the foundation, Wings, and even Do It for Darren has really brought that to the forefront. I think it's Bell Talks is one of the big ones that has really gotten people to talk about it. Can you talk a little bit about that and how important that was to be a part of your legacy, even in hockey?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it all together here.
I do apologize. I don't mean to bring it.
No, because it's deeper than that. So just hearing you say that in the goosebumps, it's Luke and Steph are truly some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. Okay. The family, they took me in. I got to live with them and get to know, Morgan and Darren. And I also have 4 sisters. So when I was at this phase in my life, and I was young and dumb and playing in the NHL and all this stuff, and I was just doing my thing. But, as years go on, you look at how valuable people like Luke, he was still playing. I think he was like year 19 or something ridiculous, right?
Yes.
Having those guys in your locker room you can't put a value on it, right? So having him around and him call me one day, I was living in a hotel and the Ottawa Senators kind of screwed me over for like $3,500 that year, and he's like, move out of the hotel, come live with me and live with the family. Now, it was when that went down and the Richardsons went through that tragedy, and I still talk to Luke once in a while now, and seeing the success he has and the family's had is amazing, and it couldn't be, it's so well deserved. But when all that went down, I knew I wanted to do something. I wanted to do a charity, and I wanted to give back. I always loved the community service side of the game, and Jen O'Brien, and Jen and I were pretty close, and we sat down, and Jen's like, let's create this charity.
Yeah.
And we created Wings when I need guidance and support, and it was just something that her and I wanted to do because of her, her background of everything she's done in Binghamton as well, right? Mm-hmm. And we did it, and it really took off. And we just kept going with these ideas. And I'd come up with these ideas, but I was lucky and very fortunate to find the right crazy woman to help actually make my ideas come to fruition.
Right. Hey, absolutely.
And she did that. We did the outdoor skate. We did the fire thing. We raised money through charity, and that was all just to give back, but also to see what the Purple Heart has done and do it for Darren, and all this stuff has been amazing. And, I lost my 14-year-old niece a few years ago, to some self-harm too, and that was just brought back memories of kind of what, thinking what Darren and, Luke and Steph and Morgan were going through, the family, when that happened with Darren. So I also have a daughter now. She's 5. There is something to be said about kids in this world and the mental health and how hard it is to be a kid. It can't be looked upon, passed upon. Kids need outsources, and it's a very tough world to be a part of. And sports offer a out, and sports are supposed to be that, that happy moment for kids too. But sports also can teach a lot about life. But I'm going on, and I can go on about this all day because it's so meaningful. I love kids. I do anything for kids. The mental health is huge. It's real. And if people ever can donate and give back to something like that, they should, because or lend a helping hand or something for a child, because we live in a tough world. And it's tough to be a kid these days. So
it is. It is.
Yeah,
but it's a part of your legacy. And I couldn't, not talk to you for a few seconds about it, because it's a part of your legacy. It's the reason why you won the Yannick Dupree Man of the Year award in the AHL and everything. And but that's not something that stops there. You don't win an award and then just stop doing that. It is something that I know that is a part of your life, throughout your career, because that is the way you can give back. And Jen O'Brien is an amazing human being here in Binghamton, and the things that she's done for the community is amazing. And like you said, you had to find the right crazy person to get on board and to help you out about that and everything. But it's very true, and it's well deserved that you bring her name up, because you can come up with the crazy ideas, but she has to really be able to help put them together and everything.
Yeah, listen. Everything you do in sports or anything, there's a team behind it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I don't. It's so funny. I forgot that I even won the Yannick Dupree Award that year.
You
right?
did.
'Cause everything that happened internally from wanting to do good.
Yeah.
It didn't care about winning the Yannick Dupree Award. Now, sure, it was great. It's a benefit. It's part of that that year, which is amazing. But stuff like that, I think a lot of those guys that over the years, and whoever wins it every year, they don't do the community service stuff to win an award. They do it because they genuinely have good hearts, and they're men that care. So,
it's very true.
I think, that's how I look at it anyways.
It's very true, very true. Cody, thank you very much for coming on, talking a little bit about 2011, seeing that here in 2024, we have a Binghamton team that might be doing something that's only happened once so far in 51 years of professional hockey. This is 52 for Binghamton, so this might be only the second time. Thank you very much for giving me some of your time today and talking about this. It's been a pleasure to just, communicate with you again, because you were one of the guys that even though sometimes you'd skip out on post, there were times when you were one of the more gentlemanly guys for us to talk to, and we really appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
And we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
You're listening to the Power Play Post Show. Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
Friday night is Game 3 of the Commissioner's Cup Finals, where the Carolina Thunderbirds take on the Binghamton Black Bears. The puck drop is at 7 p.m. Games 4 and 5, if necessary, will be played on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's game would also start at 7 p.m. Sunday's game, if necessary, would start at 6 p.m. Friday night, we have 5,000 pom-pom giveaway, courtesy of our friends over at the Mac 11 Foundation, right here in Binghamton. And also, the first 2,000 fans will receive rally towels for the playoff game, courtesy of our partners over at Five Beauties LLC. So that's all the boring, nitty-gritty details out of the way. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Head Coach Brant Sherwood, who's going to make a statement, and then we're going to open it up for questions before introducing the players. So, Coach Brant.
Thanks, Brooksy. Appreciate that. So we're just excited for the opportunity on Friday to hopefully close it out at home, but just taking it one day at a time. You can never count the Carolina Thunderbirds out of anything. So we're taking this week very seriously and hope to get the job done in front of our great fans.
Coach, 2 first periods outstanding in Carolina. Your thoughts on those first 2 games?
Well, that was kind of one of the objectives. Carolina, they come out hot in their arena, and the times that we've lost, we've been usually down 3 or 4 goals after the first intermission. So that was one thing we emphasized on this week, is to have a great start. I didn't know it was going to go that well, but definitely the boys were ready to go, and they especially had a good first 5 minutes.
Brent, you mentioned last week how good of a goalie Matthew Cavallari has been this season. You guys have always kind of rattled him early in the series. What's worked for you guys on the offensive front to get him off balance so far?
I think just making threats towards the net early on in the game, just not letting them get comfortable and letting them feel the puck. So our shots have been, picking corners, and we've been getting a lot of traffic in front. So I think it's disrupted his play just a little bit.
Would you guys do anything different, whether it's Mario or Cody on Friday?
No, we're just going to continue to get bodies to the net, continue to pepper them. Yeah, maybe we might, attack some different weaknesses based on his play. But other than that, it's kind of the same philosophy. We got some really good shooters in our room, and I expect them to come through.
And Brant, last week you mentioned there have been a lot of gritty goals from you guys this postseason, and it continued over the weekend a bit. At this point, are you guys kind of just going to stick to that and just trying to grind stuff out, or are you going to try and work the offense and get a little bit smoother, per se?
We had like some pizzazz goals there. I mean, I think there was one that Gavin, he hit backdoor, but these are the type of goals, these gritty type of goals are the goals that happen in playoffs, and you got to get it off quick. There's going to be a rebound. It's going to bank off a shin. Whatever it might be, as long as we got bodies there and we can put a couple away the dirty, I guess, way, then we'll take it.
Coach, you started this press conference off by saying just taking it one day at a time, not getting too far ahead of ourselves. But with the cup in the building, with the 2-0 lead, how do you stay focused on the task at hand and not let Friday night be a hiccup?
So most of the time we just, we try to tackle the day. So we focus on practice, what do we need to work on here, and just kind of go about it that way. And that's the same thing for a game. Our whole thing is focus on the first 5 minutes. So you might get 1 or 2 shifts. You just focus on that, and then we regroup after the media timeout to see if we need to make any adjustments.
Brant, the Binghamton Black Bears have never lost a home playoff game in 3 years of existence. How big of an advantage is it to be able to close this thing out potentially at home?
It will. It would be amazing. To do it at home, to do it in front of these fans. I mean, it's already selling out, and it's Tuesday, so you can feel the hype, you can feel the energy around town. But you don't want to get ahead of yourself too much. But it would be a dream come true to get it done at home and have our fans get to witness it all.
How do you keep the players kind of a little bit in check emotionally when going out for Game 3?
That's what I'm here for, is to remind them, hey, we've been in situations where we've gotten a little overconfident going into games, and you get humbled very quickly. And in any sport, you can't take any team for granted, and yet you got to respect the opponent. And I feel like these guys really respect Carolina, and we know they're going to bring their best game, so we need to be ready for it.
Hey, Coach, you touched on it a little bit. This place is pretty much almost sold out for Friday night. How excited are you and the boys to get back in this building and just play at least one more in front of your home fans?
I mean, we were just lucky to get our family in the building. We had to get the tickets down today, but everyone's super hyped up about it. We're all excited. When you're playing hockey in May and it's nice out in Binghamton, there's not much to complain about. So we're ready, but it's still not done yet, and we're waiting for Friday pretty eagerly.
Coach, you talked about jumping out to early advantages both in Game 1 and Game 2, 3 goals in each. But Carolina, gritty as you had mentioned, has been able to get back into both of those games, making it a 1-goal game in Game 1. What adjustments are they making that allow them to kind of bounce back from your initial punch in the face?
I think naturally just the game tends to go that way sometimes is, their backs are against the wall and they're going to push as hard as they can. And we want to keep that momentum going into the second and third period, but sometimes it's hard. Sometimes they're giving it their all, and we tend to kind of not sit back, but just play a little bit more conservative. And it's not like I'm telling the guys to do that, but it just kind of happens naturally that way. But we would like to have a lot better of a second period, going into Friday.
How difficult is it to close out a series? I know you've done it twice in sweeping fashion, but how hard is it to beat a team?
It's extremely hard, and you have to rely on your experiences from the regular season to know like what type of situation you might be in and what worked in previous games. So it's going to be tough, and Carolina is not a team you just walk through. They're very difficult. They're well coached. They have great forwards and great goaltending. So we're looking to counterattack those areas.
Coach, talk a little bit about CMAC. We haven't talked about defense. We haven't talked about the goaltenders. Tell me your thoughts on CMAC so far through the playoffs.
He's just kind of that calming presence. He's our kind of staple on the back end, and he kind of, I don't want to say makes the guys relax, but makes them feel a little bit more comfortable when he's in that. And it's nothing against Aggie. The boys feel very confident, and Nolan Egbert as well. It's just Connor, he's ran with it, and he's done a great job, and he's made some really big saves in key moments. Sometimes he might not have the best start, but he always bounces back from it. He's always moving forward, so it's great to have him be the backbone of this team.
Coach, throughout the playoffs, you kind of talked about, your guys bringing in, kind of turning over the roster. I want to talk about kind of the veterans for a minute. Tyson and Gavin, so far this playoffs, have been 1 and 2 in points throughout the playoffs. What has that veteran presence meant to that team throughout the last couple of weeks?
It's been everything. They're also there to remind the guys, like, hey, we got to do the right things, can't be cheating offense, and Tyson specifically has been putting his body on the line and blocking shots, laying bodies, and burying goals when he gets a chance. Sometimes they get disallowed here and there, but other than that, he has led the way fully in all aspects of the game, whether it's face-offs, net front presence, penalty kill, power play. He's kind of done it all. And then with Gavin, there's not a better skater in this league than Gavin Yates. He carves up the neutral zone, gains zones like no other, and he's been putting the puck past all these goalies and setting up his teammates. He's making the players around him that much better.
Yeah, Coach, you kind of mentioned earlier, Carolina's going to come out firing on Friday night and this entire weekend knowing their backs are against the wall. How do you guys kind of prep knowing that a team's going to be playing with nothing to lose this weekend and that you guys are going to have to be prepared for a big push early on?
So we have to play like we have nothing to lose, and we got to come out with that passion and energy, and I think the guys will feed off the building very easily. It's just I don't even necessarily want to match their energy. We want to exceed it. We want to be better. I still haven't seen our best game in playoffs, so we're just hoping for our best overall game going into Friday.
Coach, just real quick, last one from me. You had mentioned when we talked last week, new roster, a lot of young players, fresh legs, stuff like that. How does a deep playoff run like this help, especially you got 2 rookies making the Empire Division team, how does a deep playoff run like this help develop their entire career, not just the season?
Well, it just gets them prepared for the next level, or possibly winning the championship, like we have the chance to do. So it just, it shapes them, shapes their future. So we got guys that are all capable of playing at the next level. It's a matter if they want to do it and if they get the opportunity. So these guys they're all ready to make that jump. It's a matter if we're able to keep them in Binghamton or not. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brant. Do you guys want them both at the same time? They can stand in the frame. Does that work for you guys?
I think we prefer one-on-one.
One-on-one? Okay. Any preference of which one wants to go first? Okay. Or you can go last.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
technically he's going mid.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
All right. If you want to say something first, you can, or we can
just
open it up for.
I'm good. I'm good, Brooksy. I got nothing for you.
All right, go ahead. So,
Tyson, we talked in the beginning of the season, and you were very confident you guys could beat Danbury. You guys were going to do well against the big teams. How happy are you with the performance of this team throughout this year and going into the playoffs?
Yeah, everyone's been great. I knew going into this year we were kind of going to be slept on with a lot of roster turnover. I think bringing in so many new faces like we did, but we were confident in the guys that we brought in, and we got a chance to do something here that's very special. But like we've been saying all playoffs, the job's not finished yet, so I'm going to keep going.
Tyson, throughout the playoffs, you've had, I think, 9 points, 2 goals, a couple of goals disallowed already this playoffs. We don't got to worry too much about that. But what's worked for you and what's worked for this team to, at this point, be in a position to potentially sweep Carolina?
Yeah, just trying to continue rolling like we were in the regular season there at the end. We kind of had a scuffle with a month left, but I think we reeled off 6 in a row coming into the playoffs and unbeaten so far. So I think everything was just clicking at the right time, and we're just trying to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, Tyson, you guys have been unbeaten in the playoffs, but there have been some ups and downs, whether it's been slow starts in game 1 or this past weekend having to hold off a late rush from Carolina. How has this team kind of been able to handle the moment no matter what's going on and what situation you guys are dealing with?
Yeah, I think that's just kind of the story of the season, right? We've won in pretty much every way. I think we've seen it in the first round, slow start, going down 2-0 after the first to Watertown. Having to build ourselves back up from that, kind of, guys are gripping the stick a little too tightly, things like that. And then, like you said, the last weekend there, we come out hot, 3-goal lead, 3-1 in the second game, and then it's a 1-goal game at the end. Just finding ways to get the job done. It doesn't really matter when you look back. It just says that we won both those games, so it doesn't really matter how it gets done. It's just got to continue to get done.
As mentioned, a couple of goals disallowed, but on game 2 you got 2 in. So after that first one went in, the second one wasn't too far behind. How much of a monkey off of your back did that first one go in, and should we expect a whole bunch more now?
Yeah, I think after the regular season there, having a career high in goals, I was kind of a little shocked how long it took to get the first one that actually counted. So definitely the monkey was off the back, and just looking to keep rolling forward, and hopefully a few more Friday night to finish this off.
How special is it for you guys to know that you don't have just one shot to win a championship for the city and for yourselves and the organization, but you have 3 chances? So a very good opportunity to go in to win this weekend. How special is that for you guys?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think no team has ever won the cup on home ice here before, so we've got a chance to make history. Obviously, our main goal and our only focus is Friday night. For us, we're kind of taking it as it's a do-or-die game. We don't want to have to see Game 4, Game 5, so our focus is just getting that job done on Friday night.
How big is it to get that quick start like you did the last 2 games in Friday night's game?
Yeah, absolutely. Their backs are against the wall. They're going to come out with everything they got. We're going to see their best hockey so far. So we've got to elevate our game and play a full 60 minutes, and I think we'll like the results.
First Black Bears playoff game in franchise history was yourself with a game-winning goal. How cool is it to kind of potentially have this full circle moment where you were here? Obviously, you did start the season with the Black Bears that year, but there for kind of the biggest highlight of the season, and now potentially as a captain here for biggest hockey moment since 2011 here in Binghamton.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's an honor, obviously, like you mentioned. I think first playoff goal and then first game winner in the same game. So. to come full circle and to be able to win it on home ice, it's going to be something very special for sure.
Yeah, I mean, is that something you guys talk about, knowing how much this team means to the city and the fan base, and what you guys have been able to provide them over the last 3 years with all the success you've found?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the core guys that we have here that were here last year or even year one also, we've kind of left the season losing that last game, and you never want to lose the last game. And we've got a chance to win the last one for a change, so everyone's really excited.
So you skate here under the banners of a bunch of former franchises and division championships, which you already checked that one off the box, but there's a Calder Cup up there. So how motivating is it when you guys are skating here for a practice or a game to have an opportunity to hang the first Black Bears banner up here?
Yeah, absolutely. We've jokingly talked about one for winning the division, but we all knew that wasn't the one that we wanted to go up there. We've been striving all season to put that championship banner up there, so to get a chance, it's going to be amazing.
And to do it on home ice, how does that feel?
Yeah, it's going to be special. It's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for all of us, and hopefully we just get the job done.
And obviously family. There's going to be family and friends of the whole team here. How big is it to have them in the building as well? Not just the fans, not just Andreas, but your family as well.
Yeah, again, it's going to be special. Everyone's going to have the opportunity to have the friends, family, loved ones in the building. It's going to be in Carolina or down in Columbus, far away. So I think everyone's going to cherish that moment for sure.
Tyson, last question for me. We talked to Coach about it. Matthew Cavalieri coming in, considered one of the best. I think he was the FPHL goalie of the year. You guys obviously rattled him early on, first two games. What have you been doing to kind of get him off balance throughout this series so far?
Yeah, just trying to get in his crease, get to the top of the crease, let him know that we're there without really having to say too much to him. He's a lot more calm-headed than Trevor Babin. So, but just getting traffic in front of him and creating havoc, throwing pucks to the net. We've got a few goals with fortuitous bounces, so it's the playoffs. It's not going to be pretty. Just getting greasy and just putting the puck in the net.
Yeah, and then Connor, final one for me. Sorry, Tyson. On the flip side, Connor's been phenomenal for you guys in net this postseason. How much has his presence and his performance meant to you guys as you guys are able to push the pace a little bit more on the other side and take some more chances, knowing you have a great goalie on the other end? Yeah, absolutely. He's playing the best hockey of his season at the right time, and I think just all the way back to Watertown, going down 2-0 like that. If they get the next one there, we're scratching and clawing, and he shut the door, gave us a chance to get back in it. So anytime that we're not playing our best throughout a game, he's there to hold the fort down, and it's been great.
Last one here as well, and I already know you're going to tell me it's the same drive and all of that, but Friday you're going to be driving in and the cup is in the building. Things are just a little bit different. What's that drive like on?
Same as every other day, business as usual, job's not done.
Excellent.
Thanks, Tyson.
Thanks.
Tyson, you do realize you drove Babin out of the league, right?
Yeah, he ain't coming back.
He says he doesn't want to come back?
He ain't making the coast.
He ain't making the coast yet.
No.
I agree.
All right, Jesse?
I signed in the coast before, and I didn't make the team. He ain't signing a real contract. He's signing a PTO.
I literally wrote, I said, no way.
No chance. He
No
didn't
chance.
make the
All right.
Sorry.
Jesse Anderson.
Yeah, whatever. Jesse, talk about the excitement about obviously Friday's game and coming into this and having a chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I know everybody in the locker room is excited for the game. To be on home ice to potentially close it out. But I mean, Brant and Kirks have said it. It's business as usual. Job's not finished. So I mean, we're just looking forward to that and practice all week and get ready for it. So.
Jesse, up 2-0 in the series right now. What was that Carolina trip like, and how were you guys able to sweep them at home to be able to set you guys up for this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, guys were just all together, bought in, ready to go. We knew what we had to do when we got down there. We took it one game at a time, and we were able to get both games, so it definitely helped us. It was simply. Jersey put together a good plan for us. We followed the plan, and as a team together, we can accomplish anything we want, and we've shown it this year.
Yeah, I mean, how do you carry the momentum from last weekend, where you guys really made a statement and took control of this series? How do you carry that momentum into this weekend?
I mean, I wouldn't really say like you carry the momentum. It just kind of goes along with it. You try and stay even keel, as Coach Sherwood would say. We get ready for every game as we usually would, and never want to be too high, never want to be too low. It's going to be amazing when all the fans are here, and anything that happens, I know the building's going to be rocking. So it's just kind of just staying level-headed, and eventually the momentum will hopefully be on our side. So.
All right, I know you're tired of answering the same questions over and over again that everyone else has, so let's talk some puck.
Okay.
You guys have been killing it on the forecheck. The transition game from one blue line to the other has been working. What specifically about your offense matches up so well against Carolina right now?
Just our depth. You look at any line can score at any point of the game. We're just so good on what we do, the forecheck, taking away options. One of our best forecheckers probably doesn't get talked about a lot. It's Fletcher. Jersey loves him, I know that. But yeah, he's got a hard-on stick. He's always on the forecheck. That guy causes so many issues for D on the other team. And just guys like that, just doing their jobs, and everybody together, we can just transition to anything and provide offense. So it really helps.
Jesse, you and Ollie have played both positions, D and forward. We've talked about this and everything. How happy are you to know that you're going into potentially winning a championship and that you've done pretty much everything for this team, whether it be on forward, whether it be on defense? I'm not sure if there's anything else that Sherwood's had you do.
Yeah, definitely will never play goalie, I'll tell you that for free.
There you go. But talk a little bit about how you've grown as a player, being able to play both positions.
Yeah, the growth kind of came when I first started playing professional. I was actually playing with Coach Sherwood in Roanoke, and eventually before the playoffs had come, I had been released, which it sucks, and it's one of those things that you never want it to happen, but it's the way the professional game is. And then the year after, we get into playoffs here in Binghamton, and it didn't come to what we want to, and now it's we have a chance now to close it out here on home ice, and it's kind of like a full circle kind of feeling. It's just no matter what, I just want the team to win. Wherever he wants to put me, happy to do it. So except for goalie, he knows that. Yeah, definitely won't do that. There's definitely better e-bugs in our locker room. So,
Jesse, you guys' penalty kill percentage this postseason, I think 95%, basically unstoppable. Can you just talk about what Brant's kind of been installing your guys to make sure that you guys have been so dominant?
Yeah, he's got his plan for us and how we go over each team and what their power play looks like and stuff like that, and kind of where their areas of attack come from, and try and narrow down on those and make sure we can stop that. But definitely helps that it's playoffs. Sometimes when the opposing team's on the power play, they can get a little jittery. Maybe they're down by one, or it's just like a big situation for them. And the same thing for us. We're going to pressure everything we can because, again, it's playoffs. That's the name of the game. So I think just having Coach Sherwood being able to instill knowledge and situations for what could happen for them definitely has helped us along the way to give us a high PK percentage.
Yeah, obviously everyone knows what's on the line this weekend, regardless of what happens. The season ends this weekend. How do you guys kind of just block out all the extra stuff that's going on and anything past, whenever the final game is, and just kind of handle your business when you take the ice Friday night?
Yeah, just I guess coming in every day just like it's a normal day. I know there's a lot on the line. It's a lot to think about, and the best way to do it is just essentially just leave it out from the rink. We come in, day as usual, kind of. We know what's going to happen. We know what Friday's about, but I know Coach Sherwood, myself, and Kirk's, and all of our older veterans are just, we're going to keep you guys level-headed and just say it's a hockey game. We come, we play, and.
I know we're talking about Friday, but you got practices in between that now and then. What have you guys been working on? What are you guys drilling in these last few practices of the season?
I would say mostly it's going to be just, certain situations that we've seen from the past two games, just getting ready for that. Certain things that we maybe didn't maybe certain things in our neutral zone or in our defensive zone where we kind of, made little hiccups that Sherwood would see in video that we can change. But other than that, I think it's business as usual, and then just be ready for Friday.
Is there anything that Coach has noticed on tape that you guys really want to improve on and make a change on from games?
Don't look at Coach.
Not that I've seen yet. I'm sure we'll have something probably tomorrow or Thursday for sure. So, I'll definitely go back and watch some more of the film to see myself. But there's some things I need to clean up myself, but I'll take care of that. So.
If you're a Binghamton Hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And I'm here with Andreas Johansson, the obviously the owner of the Binghamton Black Bears. Andreas, obviously we are a couple days away from the Game 3. Games 1 and 2 went very well. You were down there for it. A nice environment there down in Winston-Salem. Talk a little bit about the first 2 games and how you felt everything went in Winston-Salem.
Well, I think we came out swinging both nights, right? Like, I know, especially before Game 1, but I would say actually both games. I think biggest thing from Coach was let's make sure that we don't give him anything the first 10, 15 minutes. We got to ride out the storm, and obviously we did that. I think to a man, the guys came out, they were ready to play, and I think one of the greatness that we have in this team is the role players that we have. Like, everybody knew what they had to do, and we were able to obviously a lot of talk before the game was Cavalieri, and I think whatever video work Brant did, he figured out one way we could score on him, and they've got a lot of good players. I know they're going to come up here, ready to go. So, but overall, yeah, it was a great experience down there. We had a great following from the fans that made the trip down, and the boys were ready for the task.
Game 3 sold out. Obviously, it was announced a little bit earlier today that the Game 3 was sold out, and the fans here have already been very ruckus, very loud, chanting. There was a game where Tyson's goal was being disallowed, and they were chanting "goal, goal, goal, goal." I have not seen something like that since the Calder Cup Championship, where they were chanting "You can't hack it" and things of that nature. How excited is this organization for Game 3 and what the fans can bring to the game?
Being able to play, the deciding games at home, it means everything, right? I mean, these fans have been with us for 3 years, and they deserve to be a part of it. And the guys in the room have earned, the opportunity to win it at home. So I think being able to play at home with, 5,000 fans in the stands, and as loud as it's been, I mean, I know, I think the Motor City game, the overtime game, was probably the loudest we've had it in here. And, it does help. It does help to keep the routine the same. Like, I know obviously there's going to be a little bit of nerves no matter how you frame it. The guys are going to be nervous. But being able to keep the routine the same, coming out in front of our own fans, it does greatly help us. And obviously getting the opportunity to win at home with all that entails, if we're that lucky, that means a lot.
On the business side of things, I would say probably a successful season. The attendance went up. On average, it went up. And obviously in the playoffs, it's been really good, and it's going to be even better after Game 3 and everything. So business-wise, everything good here?
Yeah, it's been a great year business-wise. Like you said, the attendance has been really high. And obviously with high attendance and recognition and involvement in the community comes more corporate partnerships and sponsors too.
Like, they've been illuminations in the corner there that came in like halfway through the season, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is helping the business side of things.
Oh, sure. I mean, having success on the ice and the success of the business, it kind of goes hand in hand as far as, brands are more willing to spend money with an organization that's being successful. I mean, it doesn't necessarily just mean winning, but it means bringing out the crowds and the players being good role models and the entire organization being well recognized and well talked about in a positive way. So, like, I think all that goes hand in hand, and in return by getting the fans in and getting the corporate sponsors, we are able to put more money behind the players. I mean, as far as payroll for the guys and making sure they have all they need, travel by air when it's necessary or preferable to do so, and being able to I think Scherzy has done a great job recruiting the team, but I think he also knows that the organization is going to be behind him and back up all the promises that are made. And the fans have been unbelievable in terms of like anything that the organization has needed. They've kind of come through for us. So yeah, business-wise, everything ties in hand. I've always said this isn't really like a money-making thing, and it truly isn't. But of course, it helps to have that support in terms of being able to put a great product on the ice.
You made a post this past weekend because the bus broke down, and you said it's time to retire that particular bus and everything. Are you going to let any of the players or anybody in management beat the crap out of it with a sledgehammer before it gets retired?
Well, it depends if we can get it out of where it is right now.
Wait, it's still not in Binghamton?
No, so obviously our main priority was getting the guys home as quickly as possible. So they all ended up getting Ubers, and we had to tow the bus. And this is like a Sunday night at 6 o'clock or something. So we wanted to tow it up here, but it ended up getting towed to somewhere in Pennsylvania, and it's still there. We don't really know what the problem is, and it's obviously not like a huge priority right now because the season's done anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's like a small issue, we might be able to still get it on the road and get it up and sell it, or keep it as a backup or whatever. Because it's ironic, when we were down in Carolina, my son's 4 and he loves anything with buses, right? So I had a driver, took us on a tour around Winston-Salem, and I told him, hey.
In this particular bus?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so you're the reason why it broke down.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, if we didn't drive for an hour, we probably would have made it back here. But the irony is, I was talking with Drock, John, our driver, and I said, it's time, I think it's time for this bus to go. And he said, no, you'll get another 3 years out of it. And I was like, we'll see about that. And obviously that probably jinxed it, right? So
a little bit.
Made it about, I don't know if it's like 100 miles away or 50 miles, however close we were. We've still been lucky. We had an issue the first road trip. I think it didn't go. And I think we may have had one more.
Wasn't there a trip to Watertown once where you guys?
I think there was one of the trips. I don't remember if it was something to do with driver or bus. I don't remember, but it was like... We probably could have made it, but we decided to just not do it.
Is it one of the bigger expenses in the Fed? Is the busing and the travel?
If you charter, it would be. I mean, that's...
Because that's what the team here obviously used to do. They used to charter through Schaefer and everything, and this is a former Schaefer bus. If I remember reading what you said and everything. So
Yeah, we bought it from Schaefer, and I'm sure that's where we'll come back. Like, if we're going to buy a new one, we'll probably go through them. If we charter, chartering is a little bit difficult, and in the playoffs, it's extremely difficult to do it on such a short notice.
Right.
It does increase your cost. I mean, you're going from what we're spending now. We'll pay the driver, obviously, and you have the fuel cost. But, I mean, I know we chartered to go to Danbury at one point. I think we spent $5,000 just on one trip.
Wow.
So you're looking
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, you're looking at $150,000 at least $1,000 for a season, and that doesn't include going to Columbus or going to Baton Rouge, staying overnight. So
it's going to cost more, right?
Yeah, because you're paying the driver whether he drives the bus or not. He's still not available. So it's a fine. Like, I understand people think it's just a financial decision, but if you're putting that money there, that's got to come out of somewhere else, right? Yeah. So you always have that balance, and most teams do own. I think even the Rumble Ponies, I think, own their own bus now, just because it's hard to find charters. It can be done, but even if we're in the same situation, I know I'm not trying to be defensive, but
I know.
Even if this happened with a chartered bus, they do break down.
Situation.
Yeah,
right.
Then we would have had to send another bus to pick the guys up, so we would actually have lost a couple of hours.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling people online listen, you guys might want to go down and pick these guys up and bring them back. That's great, but it's still 2 hours that they're waiting for you to get there, and then 2 hours to get back.
And we were able to get Ubers. Yeah. I mean, is it ideal to break down on the side of a freeway? No.
I've been there actually on the highway that you broke down. I was coming back from an Alice Cooper concert.
Yeah, right.
I broke down in the same place, and so I know that terror pretty well.
Yeah, and it can happen even with a newer bus, right? Because this wasn't it wasn't necessarily the bus is old. It was from what I understand, it's a wire or something that tripped. So could have happened in a new bus.
Yeah,
probably. Is it less likely? Absolutely. But it's we're certainly going to look at all our options in the off season, because it is an annoyance for the players and the coach when you're on your way home and it breaks down. But we were at least fortunate it was on the way back and on the way to Carolina.
Give us the timeline, because the business of the Fed does not stop even after the championship game this weekend. Within weeks, you guys will be discussing a new schedule, a couple new teams potentially coming into the league. We already know about Athens, Georgia, possibly Danville, depending if they can work out a deal with their arena and everything. How soon and how quick do you guys go from celebrating a championship, whether it's Carolina or Binghamton, just trying to be honest there and everything, to
okay, we're starting to do league business again? How quickly does that turn around?
It moves pretty fast, especially because most teams by now, they've been out of, the season for
yeah,
a few
they're waiting.
Yeah, so they're kind of like, there's already a lot of prep work being done before the league meeting, which I think it's end of May, maybe early June. I'm not sure, but it's pretty soon.
Yeah.
So like by that point, like the schedule kind of gets maybe not finalized, but very close.
Yeah.
And as far as the work in the office, like most of the work, especially on the corporate side and planning out the theme nights, like that gets done.
Really soon? Like sooner than it's not happening in like the last week of September.
No, like all that stuff, like that was kind of like the first season we were really kind of rolling with the punches, and we were kind of late to it, which is why a lot of it didn't pan out as well as we wanted to.
Right.
No, we're no different from the players, and like we probably need a few weeks to like decompress and just kind of take it a little bit easy. And we'll run like jersey auctions, and you do send out like the guys will reach out to their sponsors and kind of thank them for the season, and I'm sure there'll be a little bit of like media work and stuff like that.
Sure.
But yeah, it does go into a little bit of a break, and then the annual meeting happens, and even like June, July is not super active because a lot of
maybe signings and stuff like that.
Yeah, the players. I mean, Scherzy, will work on that over the summer, but I'm sure even in his case, he's going to need like a few weeks or a month or so.
He's getting married this summer, so right?
Yeah, he's getting married, and I think it's in August or September. So
you got to give him at least a week off.
Yeah, so like he's going to need some time to do that, and I think there comes a point where everybody's just kind of like happy to be out of the bubble for a little bit and kind of get a little bit of time back.
Send Brooks back to North Carolina for a little bit.
Yeah, he might go back, see his parents. I know they came up to the game. Yeah. So everybody needs a little break, including, even for the guys upstairs. Like people don't realize, like they
work hard.
It's often 7 days a week during the season, right?
Yeah, Bobby, Trevor, and
because if we play a Friday, Saturday, like they're in the office all day, and then sometimes even Sundays they got to come in and do some work. So it's pretty hectic. So I think we're all kind of looking forward to like let's win this thing. Hopefully Friday night.
Yeah.
Do a little celebration. I think it'll be like Monday night, like a fan party, outside of the arena. And then I would say exit interviews. I would bet it's more Scherzy than me, but probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday at the longest. Right. And then the guys will probably leave.
Get to go.
Pretty much.
How excited are you for this weekend? I mean, not only you've won a championship, you've been there, you've done that a little bit, but you're getting to do it here in maybe a little bit bigger atmosphere, so to speak. Are you still really excited about it?
Yeah, winning it here with that many fans will be different. Plus, when I won it with Watertown, it was a best of 3, and I think we played down there on I want to say it was like a Friday, and then we were home maybe Sunday, Monday, or some weird kind of mix like that. So it came on a lot faster.
Sure.
And we lost the game down there, won game 2. So going into game 3, it was like we're either going to win it all or it's going to feel like we're throwing away the whole season. Right? So it's a very different situation than, now we've had a whole week to build up to it, and we do certainly have 2 match points, right? So I would say there's anticipation, there's a certain like nervous energy. I mean, certainly
it's weird because I think a lot of fans, even myself as a media guy, I feel that nervous energy a little bit, right? Because there's a lot of excitement coming into Friday, knowing it's a sellout and the team is up by 2, and then it's just like, but wait, they still have to play the game.
Well, and that's the ironic part, because you can't, like, I'm not a big social media person, but even if I'm not, you can't get away from the magnitude of it at this point. Like, you're getting a lot of text messages and emails and stuff from people that, you don't necessarily talk to that often, but they do follow the team, and they
want to wish you well. And
and they do, and it's all well-meaning and it's good, but you truly have no way to hide from what's coming, right? And you don't necessarily want to, but it is, especially for the guys on the team, it's important that like we are at home, so like the routine doesn't change. Like everything's that you practice the same time, morning skate the same time, you go to the same places, like that. That makes it a lot easier. Like you're not traveling the day before, you're not in a hotel somewhere cooped up. But I would say there's a lot of energy for everyone within the organization. Certainly the fans. I mean, Friday night will be electric. Like I know it's not on anybody's mind that we might not win Friday night. Then we might have to play Saturday, and obviously I do expect that we'll probably get it done Friday just because of the fans will be behind us. And
well, I've heard the team say multiple times the fans have been the seventh man this year.
Oh, I mean, you can feel it. Like, there are times, like, I usually watch the games upstairs, right, in our box, but I like to go downstairs, like maybe third period or so.
Yeah,
and
I see you down there.
There are times where you can feel the floor is shaking. Like, it's I've never experienced that. Like, even when we won with Watertown, it was an unreal experience, but you can't quite compare it just because of, like, the history of hockey here. I mean, the guys, they take the ice to see the banners, and we've always been saying, oh yeah, the road to the cup comes through here. And, like, the first season we weren't, obviously it was just about trying to establish ourselves. Last year we didn't quite have it. Like, we had good players, but we didn't necessarily have the right players.
Right.
Well, this year, I think from very early on, we've been probably the favorites to pull it off, right? So, like, you're dealing with a lot more pressure, and, like, I don't mind it. Like, I kind of want us to be looked at as the best team and the favorites and have to live up to it. Like, it doesn't bother me, but it certainly can get overwhelming because you're dealing with and it was the same when we won with Watertown. Like, when you win, there's happiness, but it's mostly relief, right? Like, it's winning is relief to a large extent when you put that much pressure on yourself. And I mean, I know for Scherzi and for the guys in the room, like, we try to do everything at the best possible level, but they also know that winning is the expectation. And to their credit, like, it's never been questioned, right? Like, they know why they're here. They know, like, it's not some places you go and they say you want to win, but in reality they know they're not going to, or they might say they want to win, but they don't have the organization and the team to back it up. While here, that's always been our focus. It's always been to put a championship winning team. And, going into the playoffs, I felt great about it, but you do certainly feel like duress, I would say, going into the first round, because you don't know. And we go down 2 goals. It's kind of like, all right, like, not what you had planned for, but then, the character in that room, like the group that we have and the role players that we have, like, everybody has stepped up.
Yeah, awesome. Andreas, thank you so much.
Sure.
And good luck this weekend.
Well, thank you very much.
I'll see you somewhere around the rink on Friday.
I hope it'll be in the right spot.
Yeah, hopefully it will. All right, awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
And that was Andreas Johansson at the arena a little bit on Wednesday as I sat down and talked to him. Welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. And, obviously this weekend is going to be a great weekend, whether it ends on Friday or whether it ends on Saturday or Sunday. This team has performed outstandingly. There's been growth from head coaching down to the 10th line forward or the Black Aces. There's been growth on all parts of everybody, players, coaches, even probably the staff has grown. I said Brooks Hill has gotten better almost every single broadcast since he started last year. And I totally believe that and everything. He knows that he had a rocky first broadcast, and now he's broadcaster of the year because he's done such a phenomenal job. He puts the work in all the time. And I was joking a little bit with him on Wednesday at the press conference with Andreas Johansson. And I said, okay, so the tickets are all sold. What are you doing for the next couple of days? He goes, I'm prepping. I want to make sure this is one of the best broadcasts that I have and everything. And I truly believe that he's going to have an excellent broadcast. And I told him, I was like, I'm probably going to go back and rewatch it, right? Like, I'm going to be there in person. I'm going to witness it. I'm going to see it. And whatever happens. And then I'm probably going to go back and listen to it because Brooksy has done such a great job, and I hope you fans, and I know I see a lot of fans always talking about how great Brooks has done, but please let him know that. Broadcasters are, like myself, are kind of like one of those groups of people where we enjoy what we do, but then there are times when we have doubt. And I've had doubt in my career doing this, interviews. Sometimes I get nervous about an interview that I'm going to do, like just talking to Cody Bass earlier in this broadcast. I was nervous as all can be. I mean, we were talking a little bit on Facebook, and I've talked to him before in the past. I know what I can get out of Cody, and I know how amazing of a human being he is, but I was still nervous to talk to him because this is a guy who's spent 20 years of his life playing hockey, from college hockey on or junior hockey on, and he was a scout for Nashville up until this past summer, and so he's a guy that was a little nervous talking to, right? But yeah, it went really, really well. All right, so I'm rambling here, so I'm just going to finish off with my must-reads to end the show. The Power Play Post Show is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show. You've heard this before on whichever platform you listen, and make sure you subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group if you have not. Just go to Facebook and search Power Play Post Show and join. Check the binghamtonhockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. And I want to thank you to Rob Lapolis, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and from the Binghamton Black Bears press conference, Head Coach Brant Sherwood, Captain Tyson Kirkby, Assistant Captain Jesse Anderson, of course, the owner of the Binghamton Black Bears, Andreas Johansson. And I would love to thank, again, Binghamton Senators Calder Cup Champion from 2011, Cody Bass. Folks, enjoy the game this weekend. Let's hope for the best result for, obviously, the home team. And thank you for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. I'll talk to you on Sunday with a weekend wrap-up, no matter what happens, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Petitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.